What's going on YouTube? Effect Records here. Today I'm bringing you an updated Jetta truck conversion build video. So I was recording me doing a lot of the work, but there was a problem with my SD card, my micro SD card on my GoPro. For some reason it deleted like half the videos where it's like non-existent. And I've had an issue with that card before, but I didn't know if it was the card or whatever, or I didn't hit record or something. Well, I found this the card, got a new card, but I lost all that footage, so I just kind of scrapped the video. So I just figured I'd do an updated video. Super depressed about it. I've been wanting to post a video for the last couple weeks, actually, because I've had this done for the last couple weeks. But I was still depressed over the lost footage and all that stuff. But this is kind of how it turned out to be so far on what I got. And now when I get the kit and everything, I got a brand new micro SD card for the GoPro, so hopefully we don't have that issue again. But anyway, still, working out the kinks. I got the engine removed out of the engine bay, and the transmission sitting there. The engine's sitting over there. So I'm probably actually going to stick with the BR6. I did a little bit of, research and development on all of that stuff, which I'll get into that here in a second once I go over this and then continue with the back. But probably going to keep the BR6 12 valve instead of doing an engine swap on it. And then I'll probably turbo the BR6 just because it's kind of like an inline six. I think that's kind of cool. And just comparison wise, I just feel like that's a better choice. But I'm going to clean up the engine bay. By me, I mean I'm going to have my wife degrease it and stuff, because for some reason there's no water at the shop, which kind of sucks, and the house is like clear out here. So I need like a 300-foot garden hose to get over there, and I'm not about that life to get the pressure washer over here. So I'm gonna have her kind of degrease it for me and get all that. I started it, but I just don't got the patience for stuff like that. But I'm gonna be, I have patience for other stuff. Like I'm gonna be Scotch-Briting all of it and getting rid of any rust that is there. Just so it's ready for paint. But I will Scotch-Brite it, but like degreasing it is one thing, Scotch-Briting it is another thing, because I need to Scotch-Brite it and I need to make sure that's done correctly. Cleaning it's a different story. But I'll probably do all that, use an alcohol wipe. I also got all of this out as well, with the ECU sitting here, the windshield wiper stuff, and the in-cabin filter. Removed all that stuff. This will also be cleaned out, Scotch-Brited. Anything problematic fixed, and then Scotch-Brite ready for paint. But yeah, that's basically what it looks like now for the engine bay. The subframe I'm going to be replacing because they're relatively cheap, as well as the control arms and the wheel hubs as well. So all of that will be about $400 I think, which isn't bad. They're about like 150 a piece, give or take. Some's like 120 and stuff. So about $400 for all that stuff. So not terrible, but it'll be brand new. Glad they make stuff for the Jetta still, unlike the Evos. It's like so much harder to find and so much more pricier on that side of things. So I do like that. But that's kind of about the engine bay. Nothing really to say there, except for, I'm sticking with the BR6 as of now, because I couldn't really find any good help about diesel swapping it. So like if I was to engine swap it, I'd want to do the I think it's the 1.9T diesel swap, just so it'd be diesel. But I don't really know. So, never really diesel swapped anything, so I wouldn't know where to start. And there's just not good research out there. I tried to ask around, but didn't really get very far. There's that. So now we come back to the rear. You notice there's something missing. So this is where the video cutoff was actually on me actually cutting all this apart, which is kind of a bad deal. But I did remove the back half of the car because, believe it or not, this used to be a car. Now if we look down the center line, I think that looks pretty straight. If you move to the side, you see it, boop, right there, about straight. So it looks about straight. So this is actually 3 1/4 from the top of this door. I use the instructions that I got with the Smyth kit. Now I haven't got the kit yet, but they have online instructions. that I downloaded just so I can prep for when the kit gets here. I wanted to like pre-game because I actually already ordered it, to be honest. I don't know if I said that in the last video, but I went ahead and ordered the Smyth kit for the Mark IV Jetta. So stay tuned for the kit. I want to make sure everything's good to go when I'm putting that baby together. But yeah, so it's like 3 1/4 from here out, and then I cut straight through. Now I'm going to keep the sunroof there, but I'm going to take out all the controls and everything. So that way it's just like a static little window thing is kind of the plan for it. And I see people putting like caulk and stuff in here, but I might actually weld like a little plate. Now this is to keep water from coming through here, so basically it'll sit up against the lip and then have to go the other direction to go out the front drains. It's kind of the idea behind all of that, I believe. So yeah, and then as for this, what I did first according to the instructions, so I'll just go over like kind of the instructions, is from like the middle of the wheel well up 14 inches. Now that was just like the rough cut to get the big stuff out of the way. So the roof cut actually did the main cut first because I didn't want to worry about thin metal and making it bend and warp and stuff like that. So I just did that straight. But this one I did 14 inches, cut it. Now I didn't have a Sawzall at the time. I actually had to go out and get one, but I used a cutoff wheel and it was a terrible process because the cutoff discs don't go through here. So I had to make like a million different cuts, and it definitely struggled to do that. So definitely recommend a Sawzall if you tackle this job. Like I said, I was gonna get one. I ended up going to Snap-on Guy that week to get one, but I wanted to get this, you know, the big piece done out of the way, don't got to worry about it kind of thing. So I went ahead and did that with a cutoff disc, and then I ended up having to get a Sawzall anyway because on that side you couldn't get through, and I needed it for this Sawzall for this bottom piece for sure. My cutoff disc would not do that, so I definitely needed a Sawzall no matter what. But to get the big stuff out of the way, I did use a cutoff wheel. Now the actual cut from this corner up here down to the wheel well is 11 inches. So that is 11 inches. Now I left an inch overhang according to the instructions, and I believe that's to get the inside of the bed something to rivet to. So I left an inch overhang above it. Now it's like that on both sides, and it looks pretty good in my opinion. Then also the instructions was to either take out this, because this is like sealed in there with like some caulking, or you can just make this little cutout insert, and I just opted for the cutout insert for right now. That's kind of how it looks like. I think I might have cut too far. I wasn't for sure on how far to cut. Well, I cut it anyway, and then I primered it all up after I scotch brighted it down, primered it up, and then I actually Raptor linered a lot of it as well. Now the Raptor liner is nowhere near necessary in my opinion. I just want it to look a little bit better than just, you know, painted metal being like laid underneath. The primer is definitely necessary so it doesn't start rusting, but the Raptor liner on the other hand, just to protect it a little bit better too, I guess. I don't really know, but that's kind of how that looks as of now. And then like I said, I took a Sawzall all the way around the back side as well, and then on that side the same thing with the 11 inches and then leaving an inch overhang on this side. Now according to the instructions, from what I heard, a lot of these cuts are arbitrary basically. Like they don't have to be like spot on. Like there's definitely room for like doing it how you want to do it, I guess. Now this is just the picture I seen, so I was following the picture that was in there, and that's kind of how it looked, so I just went ahead and did that. Make sure not to cut your wiring loom, so I was trying to get this out of the way at all times so I don't have to worry about that. I took off the rear support bar, which is laying over there, or actually it's the bumper, I guess, and I'm gonna fix the rust on that, paint it, Raptor line it, and stick it back on. But I would like to clear out these frame rails of any debris, rust, and all that stuff. Same thing up there is all Raptor linered, and then the spare tire just plopped back in with this little foamy piece. Just to give it, I don't know what it's supposed to give, but it's supposed to give something. I feel like maybe, I don't know, probably not. As for the headliner, I actually marked this area off when I took the headliner out, and I marked it with a Sharpie, and then I went, I think 2 inches, 2.5 inches, something like that. I can't exactly remember. That's why I wish I had the all the video. I got to make multiple videos next time, so that way if I do lose something, I don't lose everything. Yeah, so I think I went about 2.5 inches, something like that, over what it needs. So that way, that's according to the instructions, that's what you're supposed to do. And then they mentioned the headliner to leave a little bit extra for the headliner material itself, so you can wrap it around. But this headliner material was terrible anyway, so I'm probably going to get, I'm going to get some new headliner material, fabric to, paste on the inside of it, and then I can just wrap it around as needed on that. So that's kind of the plan for the headliner. Now it's back in the truck, kind of. And I got some aftermarket seat brackets. I got those from caparts.com, I think, for about $200 for the set, which isn't bad. But now when it came in, the box was kind of damaged. And on this side, there's supposed to be a little tab on both sides that goes inside these little slider things. Now it has it for, see how I can't lift it up? A little tab like that on both sides. So it only came with one set, and it was missing the other set, and I messaged them about it, and they said I can either, they wouldn't send me the which kind of sucks, they wouldn't send me the tab by themselves. So I had 2 options that they would give me, and one of the options was to send it back for a full refund. But that involves, shipping it back and then trying to order another one or whatever, because I really needed these. There's nowhere else I wanted to do it. Definitely not going to throw the stock ones back in. Or they'll give me a partial refund. Now, we settled on a $35 refund for it, and I can just probably make them myself, so I'm not too big of a deal as long as I got, these main pieces. But I could probably make those tabs and get some bolts myself. But it still kind of sucks just that we had to deal with that, and that they couldn't just send just that, the parts itself. But I don't know how they do how they're set up, so it might make better sense to them where they can't do it. I don't know. But yeah, and then I got some studs. Now these are for the VR6 engine. These are engine studs that I got, stainless steel, brand new, because I want to replace those. Not entirely sure what else I'm going to do with the engine, but let's go ahead and talk about it while we're talking about stuff. So as you see, it's all stripped down for the most part, not entirely, but it's getting there. Now I'm going to get rid of all the rust. Now this rust is pretty bad. Like, it was like a lot flaky, but I took a wire brush to it to get a lot of the flakes off. Now there's still, like, you can see, like in here, I don't know if you can see that on camera, probably, maybe. See how it's like scabby, like that. Just flaking off, just like that. Now I plan on cleaning up completely, like brand new. I would like to take the head off, replace the gasket, make sure everything looks, decent. Maybe mess with the timing chain a little bit, to make sure everything's like good to go, because I plan on turboing it. So I'd like to make sure that, the money I'm putting into is well spent by a decent engine. I think the engine sounded fine when it was running, but the exhaust was atrocious. Like, the exhaust had so many exhaust leaks, it was not even funny. Like, somebody welded the exhaust together, did the utmost worst job I've ever seen in my life with welding. Just gaps everywhere. So that's why it sounded bad, in my opinion, on the video, but the engine itself didn't sound too bad, so it should be fine. Because it runs the drives. Now I'm going to definitely replace the clutch. That is one thing I'm definitely going to do on it, to make sure all that's good to go. There's not really too much to say. And then when I get all the rust off, try to get it down to, like, all of it looking good. I plan on painting the engine black. So that's kind of the plan. I plan on painting the engine black, and then I haven't decided a color for the actual car yet. So if you guys have a dope ass color in mind, please let me know. I'm not for sure, because I do like the red, but the K10 that's over there is red as well, so I didn't know if I wanted 2 red vehicles or not, or switch it up. But I plan on replacing this intake manifold thingy, painting that whatever color I paint the car. That's kind of the plan. I don't know, but then black engine, and then color that whatever it needs to be. I think that's about it, to be honest. Like, I'm trying to go decently quick because I knew there was a lot to talk about. And now I'm just going to worry about this section, and then when I get a lift, which hopefully I can get one this year, I'd like to put a lift in here. And if I get a lift, then I'm going to work on the underbody, getting rid of as much rust as I can underneath of it. But like I said, there's really not a whole lot. And I think the reason is whoever had this car before me obviously had to have, gone mudding. Like, look at all this mud. Mud and dirt and stuff. Like, this was just caked all over the car. Everywhere you turn, there was just, mud caked on and dirt caked on and stuff like that. And I think that actually protected the car from getting rusty, to be honest. Because underneath is the same story. It looks, like that. It doesn't look very rusty. It's just dirty. So I figure get a 300-foot gun hose, run it all the way, get a lift, power wash the bottom maybe, see what I'm working with, and then I'd like to undercoat it to prevent rust from the future. But I don't drive my cars, like, I usually don't daily my cars. I drive them, out to eat and back and stuff like that, to enjoy them, but not to, like, use them for work or anything like that. Now, this car, though, I am going to be using for work. I plan on door dashing with it, and that's, another story. But, yeah, so if you like this video, please comment, rate, and subscribe for the next one. Hopefully the next one will involve maybe some engine stuff. Hopefully everything's like good to go recorded wise, and I don't lose anything and be all depressed again for a couple, a month or whatever. And hopefully the kit will be in, but they said 6 weeks. But anyway, so I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace.